live.
Let's go.
All right, Shalom Israel. Welcome back to Wednesday night class. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody in person, and also shout out and shalom to you and your families online. Shout out and shalom to Stream of Wisdom, Houston, Rochester, Norfolk, Virginia. I hope all the brothers and their families are doing well in the congregation. Shout out and shalom to Kalakab in Guatemala and Amiyadza in London. And hopefully his family and congregation is doing well. Shout out to all brothers in California, Detroit, Florida, New Mexico, Georgia, all around that watch and support, and all the Israelites that are up and coming. And we pray that the Most High expand the gospel. And if you're not with a camp, get with one. There's nothing wrong with an Israelite camp. You get a chance to practice the word of the Most High with individuals. It's hard to do so by yourself. All right? It's hard to practice meekness and forgiveness by yourself. All right? So if you don't have a camp, please get with one. It doesn't have to be us, but if it is, welcome and shalom. But let's go ahead and get started. Kind of want to continue where we kind of ended last Wednesday. We ended last Wednesday on Phinehas and his zeal. And it kind of sparked a notion of something has to kill the side of slothfulness in us. And when you look at slothfulness, which we examined last week, what be killing us is us moving at our own pace.
God.
And us moving at our own pace kills us. So it's good to be pushed out of our pace. But if you don't have self-initiative, self-motivation, then this is when zeal has benefits. All right, and we'll get into it. But first and foremost, looking at last week and what Phinehas did that caught the Most High's attention was when Israel was on the verge of going into the land of Canaan. Israel had been walking in the wilderness for 40 years. And they're at the verge of receiving the promised land. Matter of fact, let's just go there real quick. Let's go to Numbers chapter 22. Start at verse 1 real quick. This might be it, I think. Let me double check. Just want to get this point. Read that.
Numbers chapter 22, verse 1. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in the plains of Moab.
Yeah, that's it. They pitched where?
Pitched in the plains of Moab.
Go ahead.
On this side, Jordan, by Jericho.
Okay, so they're on this side of the Jordan by Jericho, and they're getting ready to embark upon they're very close to the promised land. They could actually see from where they are, they could see the promised land. They just weren't there yet. But it just shows you how close they were to reaching this destination that so many of their relatives had died in through doubt or lack of faith or murmuring or disputing or pride or whatever the case may be, or complaining, murmuring and disputing. Whatever the case may be, a lot of them didn't make it. This was the second generation that had to be recircumcised all over again, and their children had to go in. But when you look at what the Most High was doing, he was allowing them to get close. And anytime you're close to where you're about to hit a wall, you're about to break through a wall, or you're about to have a major ascension or a benefit, you have to understand that when you're close to overcoming an obstacle, whether it's a long-standing obstacle or a short-term obstacle, you're going to find that that's when different oppositions are going to be more prevalent than most. Is at the time when things are changing majorly for your benefit. Is when you're going to see things start to oppose you. Matter of fact, hold this. You can let that go as a matter of fact. And let's go to Ecclesiastes 2 and 1 just to bring this point out. Ecclesiastes 2 and 1. My one, if you got that. Another brother read Romans chapter 7 verse 21. Another brother read Luke chapter 4 verse 1 through 3. So I'll repeat it again. Ecclesiastes chapter 2 verse 1. Romans chapter 7 verse 21. Another brother read Luke chapter 4 verse 1 through 3.
Okay.
All right.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 1 reads, My son.
He said what?
My son.
Go ahead.
If thou come to serve the Lord.
Go ahead.
Prepare thy soul for temptation.
He said prepare thy soul for what?
For temptation.
So anytime you come to serve the Lord, is serving the Lord a good thing?
Yes.
I know that.
It's the most beautiful thing.
Well, yeah.
It's wonderful.
In the sense of, like,
serving the Lord is great. It's wonderful.
most people say,
Hey,
Yeah.
brother.
I hope you enjoy. I hope you would want to do that. And there would be no apprehension serving the Lord. He said, my son, when thou comest to serve the Lord, do what?
prepare thy soul for temptation.
So you got to know that This is when things, obstacles, so to speak, will present itself. Yes, sir.
I was only saying.
I'm not. You ain't got to do that right now. I'm just saying. I'm just. Well, you ain't got to defend yourself. I'm just getting the point.
Yeah.
So he's saying that this is a good thing. It's a good time, but you got to prepare yourself for obstacles. There's going to be things that are going to try to stop you from serving the Lord and doing good works in the Lord. He said, "Prepare thy soul for what?
Temptation."
And that some of that temptation may be things you can control, some things you can't control. Some by way of your own distractions, your own lusts, or your own thoughts or opinions, or outside influences trying to stop you from serving the Lord. He said, "Prepare thy soul for what?
Temptation."
All right. Let that go. Next, brother. Next verse. We're in Romans chapter 7, verse 21.
Romans chapter 7, verse 21.
The other verse was Luke 4, 1 through 3.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Romans chapter 7, verse 21. I find in a law that when I would do good.
He said it's pretty much guaranteed. A law is a rule or a standard. So it's something that's guaranteed, and you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that you're gonna find this to be quite frequent. He says that anytime that Paul says he's trying to do good, read.
He says, I find in the law that when I would do good, evil is present with me.
Anytime you're taking positive steps forward, what's present?
Evil.
He said there's always going to be something trying to retard or withdraw you from positive steps. That's how it is in just in this life that we live, especially when you live a life pursuing righteousness or trying to serve the Lord. You're going to find things coming against you, standing against you, opposing you, trying to stop you from forward momentum in the spirit.
Yeah, opposing forces.
So he says, where there's good, he said, I find in law that evil is present with me, right? Next brother, next verse.
Luke.
Let another brother read it. You got to be ready, bro. Next man.
4, verse 1. Luke chapter 4, verse 1. And Yahushua, being full of the Holy Spirit.
So he said, and Yahushua being what?
Full of the Holy Spirit.
So even though Christ is full of the Holy Spirit, read.
Returned from Jordan.
Go ahead.
And was led by the Spirit.
Go ahead.
Into the wilderness.
Go ahead.
Being 40 days tempted of the devil.
Even though Yahushua is full of the Holy Spirit, who's with him?
The devil's right there.
He's right there. He's right there with him while he's filled with the Holy Spirit. So regardless if you're brand new to the Holy Spirit or whether you're filled with the Holy Spirit, there's always going to be an opponent. He says, and there with him in the wilderness was who?
Being 40 days.
Go ahead.
Tempted of the devil.
Then we just read that he said, my son, if thou comest to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for what?
Temptation.
So what does it mean then? It's a test. You're going to be tested in your progress and your desire to ascend and move forward. There's always going to be a test waiting to find out how bad do you want to move forward.
You're right.
How important it is for you to go forward, to excel or to move forward in the spirit. Read on.
And in those days he did eat nothing.
Go ahead.
And when they were ended, he afterward hungered.
Now, Ahmad, you can get Matthew 13 and 19. He said after he did what?
Afterward hungered.
He was hungry. Read on.
And the devil said unto him, if thou be the Son of the Most High, command this stone that it be made bread.
What is he trying to get him to do?
Break his fast.
Break his fast, but do what? Yes, he is trying to get him to break his fast, but what is he trying to get him to do?
Care more.
Say it again. Give into his flesh. What else? Anybody?
To use his position, almost get him to think more highly of himself in his position, to get him to deter from his dedicated vow that he made to the Most High.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
He's trying to get him to, instead of serve the Most High, serve him, and defy the Most High, essentially.
By how?
By losing faith and losing sight.
By losing faith. How? Listen what he said. What did Satan say to him? What did the devil say to him?
Yeah. And the devil said unto him, if thou be the Son of the Most High.
Stop. Does he know he's the Son of the Most High?
Yeah.
Does he already know that?
Yeah.
So what is he trying to get him to do?
Doubt.
He's using doubt as a strategy. He's using doubt as a strategy to get him to. Once he doubts, then he could get him to force his hand and make him do something he didn't have to do. Yes, sir.
I was going to say also given to abuse his power.
Right.
Get Christ to abuse the power that the Most High endowed him, but for his own benefit rather than for what he's supposed to use it for.
Yeah.
Also, like, you know what power you got? You ain't got to suffer. You ain't got to go through this.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a catch. There's a catch. But he's using doubt as a tactic and a strategy to move his hand and willfully, knowing that he's trying to sacrifice for the sake of what he's doing for the job he has at hand for the Father. He's fasting already, but he was still full of the Spirit by denying himself. He had already become filled with the Spirit by denying himself. He was already fasting 40 days and 40 nights. So he was getting him to move against his and move and give in to his flesh, and that wasn't what he was doing on the mountain. But he's showing you. We're reading this because anytime you try to take steps forward in the Spirit, there's always going to be an opposition or something trying to pull you back or trying to get you to relinquish that desire to move forward, to quit going forward. You got to be aware of the fact that that's going to be prevalent no matter how many, whether you take one step forward, 2 steps, or 10 steps, or 50 steps. Something's always going to be trying to pull you back. Now, next verse, Ahmad, Matthew chapter 13.
Matthew chapter 13, verse 19. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart.
And so it's showing you that any positive seeds that are planted, the devil's going to come and try to rip out any positive seeds. All positive seeds he's going to try to pull out the ground before they take root, before they grow. That's his job.
That's his agenda, yeah.
That's his agenda, that's his job. To remove your positive progressions. To withdraw you from ascending forward in the Spirit. So you have to prepare yourself and be conscious of this, that you're in a spiritual war at all times, anytime you serve the Lord. You're always going to be, 7 days a week, you're going to be in a spiritual war.
Yeah.
And it's better that you understand that sooner than later. And if you're conscious of this, then you can beware of the temptations. Now, let's go back to Numbers. We started in 22, but let's go to 25. Because this is Israel on the verge of, after wandering in the wilderness all this time, 40 years, making all kind of mistakes, angering the Most High. They're about to receive the promised land, but here comes the hurdle. All right, Numbers chapter 25. Let's read verse 1.
Numbers chapter 25, verse 1.
Let me get there. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get there. All right, go ahead.
Numbers chapter 25, verse 1. And Israel abode in Shittim,
Go ahead.
and the people began to commit adultery, or slightly whoredom.
It says, here they are on the verge of finally getting to the promised land, coming out of Egypt, being in the desert, being without water, being without food, walking by faith, angry at Moses, about to stone Moses, complaining. They finally are about to receive the promise. They're finally about to receive a blessing and receive their inheritance. And they decide to do what?
And the people began to commit whoredom.
So how close were they to getting the promised land without making a mistake? The Most High is always in a position where he's trying to better us. He said he daily loaded us with benefits. And no matter how many benefits the Most High has in store, there's always a temptation that we fail at. And we got to be conscious of that. Now, we know that this was, we're not going to read the whole story, but we know that this was an elaborate scheme set up by Balak, all right, the king of Moab, who summoned Balaam to prophesy and curse Israel. All right, so we know this was an elaborate scheme. The nations are conscious of this. Matter of fact, read this real quick. The nations know this. Judith chapter 5, verse 17. Let's read that. In the Apocrypha.
Judah chapter 5, verse 17. Ready.
Read that.
Time. Judah chapter 5, verse 17. And while they sin not before their power.
It says, as long as Israel remains innocent and clear and free of sin. Read.
They prosper.
We do what?
They prosper.
Our strength is in what? Clean hands. Our strength is in our innocency. Our innocency is our strength. As a people, when we're innocent from all error, that is our strength, when we're innocent. He says, this is what the Most High understands. This is what he knows. This is what the nations know. He said what?
It says, and while they sin not before their power, they prosper.
He says, when we don't, as long as we don't sin before our power, he said we do what?
They prosper.
We prosper, man. There's nothing to stop what the Most High has in store for us. The blessings are in abundance as long as we stay sinless. As long as we stay guilt-free and we keep our hands clean and we stay innocent. Read on.
It says, because the Most High that hateth iniquity.
It says because the Most High that hates what?
Iniquity.
So Satan's job is to get us to sin. Our job, our desire, the Most High's desire is for us to stay innocent. Read on.
Because the power that hateth iniquity was with them.
He says, and as long as we're guilt-free, sinless, the Most High is with us. Read on.
But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore.
He says they were destroyed in many battles very sore. What does that mean? That's physical battles, and those are also spiritual battles. So both physically, the Most High protects us when we're innocent, and also spiritually, the Most High is with us when we're innocent. So the key to having the Most High available to us is us not committing sin. This is directly from the mouths of the other nations. They understand where we lie as far as protected or unprotected in the face of the Most High. They know this. This is why their scheme is to get us to sin. Read on.
It says, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their power was cast to the ground.
He says our temple gets, our sanctuary gets cast to the ground. The Most High don't want nothing to do with us. The Most High abandons us, and we get thrown and tossed away to the other nations. Read on.
And their cities were taken by the enemies.
And then they become vulnerable, easy picking, low-hanging fruit. Now we can attack. This is the best time to get Israel at a weak state, is when their hands are dirty. When they're polluted, then they're weak. They're powerless. They're without the Most High's protection. Read on.
But now are they returned to their power.
It says, but when we reconnect and plug back in with the Most High, our power, read on.
And are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country.
Go ahead.
For it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
It says, when can we go to war with them?
They start slipping.
You gotta go to war with Israel when their hands are contaminated. Then they're deflated. They're without their strength. They're without their power. The Most High is not supervising them, neither will he protect them. Read on.
And let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
Go ahead.
But if there be no iniquity,
as long as our hands are clean and there's no sin found within us. Read on.
In their nation,
go ahead.
Let my Lord now pass by.
You better keep it moving.
Let it go.
Keep it moving. Don't even think about going to war with them. Because if they're not contaminated, they're not polluted, that's when they're strong. And you can't do nothing against them. Read.
Lest their Lord defend them.
It said, who's going to defend them?
The Most High.
And it says, unless the Lord defend them, and what happens?
And their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world.
It says, and we will be embarrassed and scorned for trying to attack these people at the wrong time. So dealing with the children of Israel is about timing, and it's about knowing where they are in proximity of their God. Are they clean? Are they innocent? Then this is not the time to fight against them. Are they sinning and committing sin and iniquity? This is the best time to go to war with them. This is right out the mouths of the nations. And this is a war strategy that they understand about us. All right, so when we read in Numbers 25, let's go back, let that go. Let's go back to Numbers 25. They understand when we're at our most vulnerable state. Read that one more time. Numbers chapter 25, verse 1.
Numbers chapter 25, verse 1. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom.
It says what?
And the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
It says, and we began to commit whoredoms with what?
With the daughters of Moab.
It's a damn shame. Hope somebody get Josephus, book 4, get book 4, chapter 6, paragraph 6. It's on page, get paragraph 7. I mean, paragraph 6, but get line 129. It's page 111. It's book 4, chapter 6, paragraph 6, line 129. No, before we read there, just give me that footnote, the second part, the E letter and the footnote at the bottom. Just read that part first. We'll come back to the rest of it in just a minute.
Con, Josephus, page 111, right page, bottom left corner, E. This grand maxim.
He says you can. Whoever wrote the footnote is probably the footnotes are probably written by William Winston, who translated the Josephus, or those that interpreted the Josephus translation, but or a commentary to it. He says this is a grand maxim. A maxim is a rule of law. That's what a maxim is. It's a rule of law. He says, and it sounds very familiar with what Paul said as far as a law or a rule. It's very familiar with what we just read in Judith. Read that right there.
This grand maxim that God's people of Israel
Go ahead.
could never be hurt.
It says that they can never be hurt. This is a rule. This is what writers of history understand. This is what we read in Judith. This is what the nations know about us. It says the Lord's people could never be hurt. Go ahead.
Nor destroyed.
Nor destroyed. Read.
But by drawing them to sin.
It says the only vulnerability is to draw them to what?
To sin.
It says that's the only way that you can make our people vulnerable. You got to introduce crack into the community. You got to put drugs and weed and dope. You got to put the liquor on every corner. You got to get the cigarettes at every stop, every gas station.
Yeah, glorifying negative images.
You got to put Billy D. Williams on a liquor bottle. You got to put your favorite actor with a cigarette in his hand. You got to put your favorite actor in a dress.
Yep.
You got to put your favorite female rappers in dyke roles, like Set It Off, Queen Latifah.
Yep.
That used to be UNITY, UNITY. That's unity. She was rapping about unity and coming together, and then they gave her some Hollywood money, and now she's playing a woman-loving woman, robbing banks. Strong at that, so strong. They gave her some TV shows and some other Hollywood, little perks and
New Equalizer now.
Oh, she's the new Equalizer. Oh, that's right. That's right. She is the new Equalizer. You're right. She is. But she was rapping about unity and coming together, and we all in the same game. Then she switched roles, defamed herself, and now they gave her some trinkets. They gave her some trinkets and Hollywood favors, and gave her some little specials, TV specials. But this is what they do. But if you want to make our people weak, introducing them to something that's defiled, that's against the law.
Yeah.
And you know what? Kryptonite has now been administered. Now our people, you can do whatever the hell you want to do with them. Bring the dope in the community, bring the drugs, bring the crack, bring the weed, the heroin, the meth, bring all this stuff into the community. And that you got them. Their God is no longer with them. He's no longer protecting them. He said this is a grand maxim. He calls it a grand maxim. Read it again.
Con, this grand maxim that God's people of Israel can never be hurt nor destroyed, but by drawing them to sin against God,
Go ahead.
appears to be true.
He said it appears to be what?
True.
He said, man, this writer of history and commentary of the Josephus said, man, this seems to be true. They're untouchable when their hands are clean. As long as they're not sinning, man, they're penetrable. You can't do nothing against them. But as soon as you introduce them, defile them with something, contaminate them, pollute them, make them break the commandments. Find a way to make them break the commandments. As long as you do so, read on.
Appears to be true by the entire history of that people.
He says you're going to find this theme in their entire history. They're weak when they're sinning. They're strong when they're not. That's our story of Israelite life. Read.
Both in the Bible.
He says both in the Bible. Go ahead.
And in Josephus.
Go ahead.
And is often taken notice of in them both.
And he says you can see it, this story, being very prevalent in both the Bible and the Josephus. That you're going to find quite often is that we're at our best when we're innocent. And we're at our worst, most weakest point when we're sinning. He said he called this a grand maxim. He said, man, this is a top 5 rule of law. For sure. So, but it's very familiar to what we read in Judith. It's very familiar what we read in as far as the scheme that Balak has put together with Balaam to curse Israel. What we read in Numbers chapter 25. Now let's go back to Numbers chapter 25, verse 2. Somebody else give me 1 Ezra chapter 4, verse 23. Have that ready.
Numbers chapter 25, verse 2.
Go ahead.
And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their God.
It says, and they called the people. Now, we didn't read the whole story, and we're not. But it wasn't like they just said, hey, come worship these gods that we got over here. That wasn't how they did it.
No.
That's too easy. And that's an obvious, like, hell no, I'm not going over there. Mm-hmm. Hell no, I'm not worshiping your gods. So the situation, the deception has to be created.
Yeah.
They have to be drawn away and drawn into this condition to serve these other gods.
To where it's justified in our mind.
Where it is justified in our minds. It doesn't look as bad.
Yeah.
Or
it's a gray area.
You stumbled upon a small situation that seemed minor, but didn't realize what was the end game of the scheme.
Yeah.
What was the end game of the deception? Like everybody that says, they're gonna sell drugs. I'm just gonna do it for a little while.
Yeah. Get on my feet.
Just get on my feet. Just change my condition. Baby needs shoes. All the little things that people say. That don't make no sense to justify.
My daughter.
Yeah.
Or they say, I'm not gonna sell to my own people. I'm gonna sell to other people.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes, sir.
And they like to say, I gotta get it how I live. You know how it is.
Yeah. Or if I don't do it, somebody else is gonna do it. So I might as well get it.
Yeah.
So, but we don't realize what the end game is. But when you initiate something, you may come in thinking that it's going to be minor, it's no big deal. Mm-hmm. But what they have to do is create a scheme, a plan, a deception, a plot, to cut a strategy to get us to say, hey, the ultimate goal is to serve this other God. But how can we get them to serve this other God? So it takes some planning. It takes a think tank. And this is what they've done. They've sat back and put together an elaborate plan on getting these children of Israel before they go to the promised land. Before they inherit the promised land, and they're about to get their kingdom. They're about to be in their power, rulership, and authority. How can we make them vulnerable before they cross that border and receive a real big blessing? Read that again.
Numbers chapter 25, verse 2. And they called the people unto the sacrifices carcasses of their gods, and the people did eat.
So they just didn't say, here, worship this God and eat to this God. They put something together, and they used tools. What was the tools that they used? Go to 1 Ezra chapter 4. Who got it? Verse 23.
Come. 1 Ezra chapter 4 and verse 23. Salakia. 1 Ezra chapter 4 and verse 23 reads, yeah, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and to steal.
It said, man, there's a tool that they use that will make a man rob and steal. What kind of tool is that?
Oh,
Powerful tool.
What kind of tool can make a man say, hands up, empty your pockets, give me what you got, man. Give me what you got. Empty your pockets. That bag is not my bag. Those items are not my items. This belongs to me now. He says they use the tool that will make a man rob and steal. What else?
Come. A man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and to steal.
Damn. Armed robbery. Read.
To sell upon the sea.
And I'm going to distribute what I get. I'm going to rob, steal, sell it on the sea. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to flip what I got. Read on.
And upon rivers.
Go ahead.
And looketh upon a lion.
It said, I'll encounter whatever danger that I got to encounter. Read on. Read on.
And goeth in the darkness.
Go ahead.
And when he hath stolen.
The darkness saying is just, I'll go to any unknown location. I'll take all kind of chances. And I'll take whatever risks. And I don't care what the cost is. I'm taking major risks. Because I got to make a major play. Read on.
Come. And when he hath stolen, spoiled, and robbed, he bringeth it to his love.
Hey, he's doing it all for what?
His love.
So wait a minute. He did what for his love?
Stolen.
Whoa, read from the beginning.
Nope. It says, a man taketh his sword.
He said he's an armed robber. He's armed. Read.
And goeth his way to rob.
He gonna rob you. Armed robbery. What else?
And to steal.
And he gonna jack, jug, whatever you want to call it. Jugging, hitting licks, finessing, whatever you want to call it. Catch you slipping, whatever. Read.
To sail upon the sea and upon rivers.
I'm gonna flip what I got.
No matter how far it takes, how long
No matter
how far I go.
I'm gonna flip the riches and the wealth.
Yep.
I'm gonna turn it up and turn it. I'm gonna make a profit out of it. Then I'm gonna do all that and do what?
And looketh upon a lion.
Encounter danger. I don't care who's in front of me. Read on.
And goeth in the darkness.
Go ahead.
And when he hath stolen, spoiled, and robbed, he bringeth it to his love.
Go ahead.
Wherefore a man loveth his wife.
It says that's how strong and that's how powerful the love of a woman is. Read.
Better than father and mother.
He said he'll love both of these better than father and mother. Read on.
Yeah, many there be that have run out of their wits for women.
So this scheme that Balak and Balaam, actually it's through the advice of Balaam to Balak, but this scheme that they put together, they had to get some tools to be able to get the children of Israel to this pagan god. We got to get these people to worship this pagan god. But we got to use some powerful tools. What are the powerful tools that you find out in the Bible that will make a man run out of his wits?
Those women. The foreign women.
It's not just foreign women, just women in general.
You know,
well, I'm just saying in context.
provisions,
Yeah, foreign women.
women's. What does a man do? A man will jump through hoops, put himself in awkward positions. Behind what?
Women.
Women, man. They understand. Okay, if we got to get these men to worship these gods, how are we going to do this? We got to use something strong that's well known throughout history to be powerful to get a man to go out of his mind. Your wits is your intellect. That means I got to forfeit my intellect to make this decision. That means I got to cast off whatever intelligence that I have, throw away my intelligence, of things that I know that are right, just for the sake of acquiring something. Men will forfeit what they know is right to acquire something. They know this. The nations know this. Read.
Yeah.
Got you.
Many there be that have run
He said,
out of their wits.
many there be that have what?
Run out of their wits.
They have gone out of their mind. They have left their mind. That means they've left integrity. They left discipline. They left faithfulness, obedience, righteousness. They say, man, the hell with all that. For what?
It says, many there be that run out of their wits for women.
Go ahead.
And become servants for their sake.
And become what?
Servants for their sake.
And I'm a what? What's another word for that?
Slave.
I'm a slave, man.
Sucker for love, right?
I'm a slave.
Why
Now.
fools fall in love?
Yeah. Man.
Become a simp, right? That's my
That's what it is.
It's simp.
She's the type.
Yeah. Man. You had something?
You heard me.
Okay. He said many have become, they've lost all scruples, logic, rationality, and thrown it away for what? Read on.
Come. It says, many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women.
Go ahead.
And now do ye not believe me? Is not the king great?
No. Give me verse
26 again?
nope. 27.
Okay, 27. Come. Many also have perished,
He said many have died. Read on.
have erred,
Made major mistakes. Go ahead.
and sinned.
And what?
Sin.
And they know that what can we do and use as a tool to get these children of Israel, before they inherit the promised land and get what the Most High has to give them, we have to use a powerful enough tool to get them to worship these other gods. It's not going to be easy, but we got to use something to weaken them. What can get them to sin? Their love for women is what we can use as a tool to get these children of Israel to defect on their power. Not saying women are wicked. What he's saying is women can be used as a tool, which the nations know that men will go out of their mind for the sake of attraction, infatuation. They'll break rules. They'll break laws. He said a man will love a woman more than mother and father. So that means a man will defy his mother and father's wishes and orders to fulfill his love, or so to speak, love, his lust, really. He'll go against order. He'll go against rules, curfews. A man will break all kind of stuff.
Established wisdom.
Set guidelines.
Yep.
Barriers. Go through barriers. Windows too. Back doors. Closets. It will defy whatever to establish these things. But he's showing you that the nations know we got to get them somehow. We got to use something that they fall victim to. Now, we understand how strong that is. Go real quick. Ecclesiastes 19:2. Because he's showing you the power of what they're doing. Now, if you want to make it a combo, Ecclesiastes chapter 19, verse 2.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 19, verse 2.
Add some fries and a drink. You want to make it a combo? Read. Wine and women. Stop. You put these two together. That's a major combination. One of them strong enough by itself. One of them strong enough independently to make a man go out of his mind. But if you want to make it a combo, you want to add some fries on that. Throw the wine in there with the women, and you can forget it. You can forget it. That guy's gone. That guy's gone. That guy's out of here. He's out of there. That's a two-piece. He got the biscuit with the jalapeno. He's out of there. He's gone. He's out of here, man. He is out of here. You can forget even trying to talk sense into him. That's a two-way disaster. He said, wine and women, go ahead.
Wine and women will make men of understanding to fall away.
They could have understanding, they could have knowledge, they could have discipline, they could have teaching, they could have education, they could have all these things instilled into them. But if you want to use the right tools to weaken our people, the nations know what to do. They know how to prop up the women, and that the men will follow. Tupac said something real famous. He said, I don't rap for the men, I rap for the women. He said, if you rap for the women, the men will follow.
And he didn't lie.
And he knew exactly what he was doing when he was writing Thug Passion. Or then all these other, Toss It Up, and all these other songs. He said, man, I don't rap for the men. I rap for the women. You rap for the women, the men will follow. They'll buy the albums.
Yep.
He caught on to something real early, at a young age. He understood he will utilize. Even Biggie started rapping about being a player and getting women and fine and dine and whining and dining and Versace this and take you shopping. Even he started changing his lyrics. But they understand. People understand that men will follow certain things. But the nations know this too. The nations know what to use to get us to forfeit the Most High. They know exactly what to use. Now let's go back to Numbers chapter 25, verse 2.
I'm covering it.
Yeah, you got it. Whoever got it.
Numbers chapter 25, verse 2. I'm there.
Read that.
And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat.
It says they called the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did what?
Did eat.
Go ahead.
And bowed down to their gods.
So it doesn't tell you everything that they did in verse 2. It just says that they called them over, they came over and they ate and bowed down. There's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it than just what we just read. It didn't go into detail and explain how they use these women as tools to get the children of Israel to defect the Most High on the Most High and follow their gods to weaken them. It didn't explain. So we're going to do a little explaining. Go to 1 Kings chapter 14 and verse 24.
1 Kings chapter 14 and verse 24.
Read that.
1 Kings chapter 14, verse 24. And there were also Sodomites in the land.
So there's something that is in the land that Solomon left behind, that Solomon didn't eradicate. He says there were what in the land?
And there were also Sodomites in the land.
So we know sodomy is a sin, and we know what sodomites are, but scripturally they have different references. They can be classified as a male prostitute also. So we're gonna get into this a little bit, not too much, because I know we got kids to be watching. So Solomon didn't eradicate the what?
Sodomites.
He says, and there was what?
And there were also Sodomites in the land.
Now, when you have somebody that's already loose, so to speak, when you have somebody that has the proclivity to already go left, they've already compromised righteousness. When you have somebody that already made a decision to compromise righteousness, that this is my life and I'm going to live my life how I want to live my life, it's not far-fetched that it doesn't stop there. Read.
And there were also Sodomites in the land.
Read.
And they did according to all the abominations.
And he says these Sodomites did according to what?
To all the abominations of the nations.
And so, what were the Sodomites doing?
all the abominations of the nations.
And so when you read and study about fertility gods, and you look at fertility gods and goddesses, and you look at cult worship and cult practices, you also find cult prostitution. And amongst the cult priests, some of the prostitution was both male and female. And you paid for the practice. You went to the temple and paid for the practice of these prostitutes, male and female. So you have these kind of activities that are tied together, where you got people that already have already compromised themselves. It's not far-fetched that they will not compromise their belief. And if you look at Lil Nas X, he's a prime example of somebody who not only just came out the closet. That wasn't his only agenda. His only agenda wasn't to just come out the closet. It's one thing if he would have stopped there. Did he stop there? No, he didn't stop just with, the country song. What's the damn country song? Old Town Road. He didn't just stop at the Old Town. He crossed the street at the Old Town Road.
Yeah.
He went somewhere. He went to the crossroads of the Old Town Road. And we know who's at the crossroads. Yeah, he went another. There was more to it than just where he was talking about. It wasn't that he just came out the closet. He came out the closet with using his imagery to worship who?
Satan. Directly.
Yeah. He came out with the Nikes that had human blood.
Oh, yeah, he did that.
Real human blood. Instead of Nike Air, these are Nike Bloods. They had a real drop of human blood taken out of and they say they got the blood from the staff that work at Nike. The staff had to take their blood out and put it in the shoe.
It's a ritual.
What kind of shoe company is doing that?
That's not for performance and dunking.
What does that got to do with an athletic shoe?
Enhancing.
What does that got to do with an athletic shoe? What does that got to do with? Now I know black Air Forces have its stigmas, you know what I'm saying, versus the white Air Forces. But these are blood Air Forces. These are blood Nikes. Like, why a drop of blood? And who is it sacrificed to? And they got 666 on the shoes.
Yeah, that's crazy. And upside down cross on them.
And upside down cross on the shoes. And they sold out in 5 minutes.
That's crazy. Wow.
And if you look at every video, every video is obsessed with some type of Luciferian knowledge.
Yep.
And some type of left-hand knowledge. So it doesn't just stop at just coming out the closet. That's not where it stops at. Their objective is to contaminate, but not just on a physical level, but also on a spiritual level. And so you got these individuals that are in the land during Solomon's time that have already compromised themselves and are also known to promote certain things, cult practices, cult rituals. So read that verse 24.
1 Kings 14-24. And there were also Sodomites in the land, and they did according to all the abominations of the nations, which the Most High cast out before the children of Israel.
So you got some people that will bring back abominable practices. Who are those individuals that are likely to bring in abominable practices?
Historically.
Sodomites have historically brought about and brought back into practice these abominable practices. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 14.
Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 13.
14.
Or 14. For the Most High thy power walketh in the midst of thy camp.
It says one thing that we got to be conscious of is that when the children of Israel are together, the Most High's desire is to walk amongst us as a body. That's his desire, is to come visit us, pay, and see how we living and walk amongst us. It says the Most High does what?
Says, walketh in the midst of thy camp
He walks in the midst of our camp. Read on.
to deliver thee.
Because he's a protector. He's our deliverer. So when the Most High comes to the camp, he's walking amongst the camp to be our protector, our deliverer. Read on.
And to give up thine enemies.
And anybody that is opposing us, anybody that's standing against us, the Most High is our defender. Read.
And to give up thine enemies before thee.
And he will destroy any enemies that are in our presence. Read.
Therefore.
Hold on. Yes, read on.
Alright. Therefore shall thy camp be holy.
He says, there for this reason, because in order to get the Most High's protection and grant his defense, our protection, we got to be what?
Holy.
What's the stipulation? We got to be holy. That means the things that we do has to be holy. Our behavior has to be holy. Read on.
Alright. That he see no unclean thing.
And it says, if the Most High is walking amongst us to defend us, and he witnesses something unclean about us, he says, what will happen? He says that he see no unclean thing in thee. Read.
And turn away from thee.
So what will happen if the Most High see uncleanness in us?
Turn away from you.
So the Most High will no longer defend us as a people. He's out of there. He's not with us. He's not with us. He said the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit and not abide when unrighteousness cometh in.
That's for all spirits, all situations, all conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what's going on in the country, what's going on in the nation. It don't matter what they put in the food. It don't matter what kind of spells they try to put in the TV or subliminals they try to put in the airwaves or the influences around us. He defends us from all those different attacks if we practice holiness.
Yes. Yes. If we're holy and we're right in the eyes of the Most High, he'll constantly defend us. Verse 20, verse 17.
Verse 17.
He said, but he can't see no uncleanness. We got to be holy. Read.
Verse 17. There shall be no whore.
Stop. If the Most High sees a what?
Whore.
If a woman is playing the what?
Whore.
If the woman is playing the whore, will the Most High stay in the camp? Will the Most High abide and be our defender? Because these are the things that he said. These are the stipulations. The Most High said, I'm not there. I'm not going to defend you if I see uncleanness. So if I see the women in the camp being whores, I'm not defending y'all. Read.
And it says, there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of
Or if the Most High see a what?
Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
Now we know that that sodomite could be also a male prostitute too.
Yeah.
It could be male whores, male or female. The Most High said what? I'm not doing what? I'm not defending y'all. If I see any uncleanness or a sodomite in the true sense of the word, if I see this behavior, I'm not defending y'all. I'm out of there. I'm not walking in the camp with y'all. I'm not going to go against your enemies for you if I see this type of behavior. Remember, our innocence is our strength, is our power. That's what guarantees protection. Read on.
It says, thou shalt not bring...
Stop. Hold on. Let me read this real quick. Let me read this. And then my phone don't die.
You need to charge.
No. Go ahead.
Verse 18. Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore.
He says, neither shall you take the money from pimping. The Most High said, man, I don't want no pimp money. Like Magic Bishop Don Juan, talk about church. You know,
Yeah, he has his own church.
Talking about the tabernacle.
He had his own church.
Yeah, talking about what he do for the tabernacle.
Yeah.
Tabernacle.
Church, preach,
Church.
tabernacle.
Preach. He used these connotations.
Yep.
But the Most High said, man, listen, I don't want no pimp money. Read.
It says, thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of the Most High thy power for any bow.
He said, I don't want no illicit money that came from illicit activities, brought into it for as vow money. And he said, you don't want none of that in there. Read.
For even both, these are abomination unto the Most High.
It says, because both of these are what?
Abominations. Unto the Most High thy power.
Now give me 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 7.
What was that again?
Yeah, you're in 2 Kings 23 and 7.
2 Kings 23 and 7. And he
Read that.
break down the houses of the Sodomites.
Now this was Josiah. Josiah was one of the righteous kings, and he did what?
Break down the houses of the Sodomites.
So when Josiah came on the scene, he broke down the houses of what?
The Sodomites.
He broke down the houses of the Sodomites. What else?
And were by the house of the Lord, where the women wove hangings for the grove.
It says where these women wore hangings, where the women were wove hangings for what?
The grove.
The grove. Now, what was this grove about? I want you to read this for me right here.
Right here?
Yeah.
All
And
right.
also, talk about the same verse, but this is just an NIV version.
Okay.
Because there's something to give you understanding of what the grove was about.
He also tore down the quarters of the male shrine prostitutes.
So there are also, Sodomites also can be classified as male shrine what?
Prostitutes.
Prostitutes. These are loose men that are prostituting themselves for certain things. This is what the nations were about. This is what the Canaanites were quite fulfilled in. Male and female. It was no big thing for them. Read.
That were in the temple of the Lord.
Go ahead.
The quarters where women did weaving.
Stop. So when he talks about women wove things for the grove, but what things in particular? Women wove what?
Did weaving for Ashtoreth.
So Ashtoreth, when you read about the groves also can be translated as Asherim. Asherim are the plural form of Ashtoreth. Ashtoreth is a deity, Canaanite deity that is worshipped by a woman being put on a pole. And these women on the pole are also phallic symbols. Mm-hmm. And Asherim are the multiplicity or the plural form of all the poles that represent this deity. Also, in plain language, the woman on the pole is what she's known as. The woman on the pole. And in what business are we familiar with that still exists today where women are on a pole? Cabarets, brothels, different. I like the word you use, cabarets, man. It's a clean word.
I never heard that one.
That's a clean. Cabaret is a cleaner word. Y'all said it's a French word, but meet me at the cabaret. Are you cabareting tonight, my brother? Cabaret, we go, brother. So, but that worship is an ancient form of worship that has never left, and that form of worship is accompanied. That's part of the ritual. Is women dance during the ancient times. Women danced. They were in the grove. They were at the temple. The priests had male and female prostitutes in the temple. Women they couldn't leave the facility once a year until men threw money at them in the name of Melita. Then they could be pulled, and after they were pleasured, after the men were pleasured with these women at a cost, then these women were allowed to leave the temple, and this is how they paid homage to Canaanite deities. So this type of activity And this type of worship is not brand new. It's been around. It's just the names changed, and they cleaned up the identity of it. Gentleman's Club or whatever you want to call it. They clean up the identity, but the worship is to a deity. The worship of it, the activity of it, is to a deity. It is paganistic. It is a pagan ritual. You are serving Canaanite gods, and the female god that you're worshiping is the queen of heaven, so to speak, in the Bible, which is the Babylonian and Canaanite deity, which comes in the form of Astarte, which comes in the form of Sybil, which comes in the form of Dionysus, which comes in the form of Venus, Aphrodite. These are just different manifestations of the same female deity, just different names. Madonna. In India, it's Parvati. So these are just different manifestations of this female deity that we read about and the worship of these deities. Now the males in this would be Baal Peor, or Baal, chief Canaanite deity. Yes, sir.
I also read that for the men to serve that along with the prostitution, it was the cross dressing. It was the cross dressing that went with it.
Yep.
So you had to put on the persona of woman as well. That's part of the act. So.
Part of the act is cross dressing for the men, and specifically the young men had to sing in what is known as the imbecile voice.
Yeah.
The imbecile voice is the highest pitched tone, also known in R&B as the falsetto. This is the high pitched sound that Chris Brown makes. This is the high pitched sound that Neo sings in. This is the high pitched say in the falsetto that the Dream sings in. This is
Royce.
Who's Prince Royce? Just a new one. You got me.
He's not new. He's
okay.
Dominican singer.
Okay, Prince Royce on the 9.5 side. Prince Royce. Stylistics. Marvin Gaye. Michael Jackson. that high pitched voice. Prince that Prince sings in. Cool in the Gang. Yeah, when you look at R&B, especially Tevin Campbell.
Yeah.
Tevin Campbell, Usher, when he was young.
Yeah.
So when you look at these, Justin Bieber,
Mario,
Earth, Wind and Fire, any that high pitched voice that they would sing in, that tone, that note is a note dedicated to cult practices, and was necessary for them to sing in that high voice to honor their particular deity. And the way that they kept the male hitting those notes was to emasculate the male as much as possible to keep him feminine, so he could retain that high-pitched feminine voice.
Castrati.
Yeah.
It's an Italian term, the Italian word for castrati, which means that they take the part of the male.
Castrate the male.
Yeah, castrati at a certain age, and you preserve that prepubescent tone.
Right. So they don't lose that even as they age, they don't develop that deep voice that you get when you go through puberty. They don't develop that deep masculine voice. So to ruin that, to keep that man feminine, that was part of cult worship. Wearing dresses, for the boys wear dresses, and constantly singing that high-pitched falsetto note, which is known as the imbecile voice. That was part of the cult worship. So these things aren't brand new. These things are not new. They just appear in different fashions. Hollywood keeps us in this form. The music industry loves us in this fashion. They sell music in this fashion. Effeminate, high-pitched voices. They love it. They love artists to propagate themselves in that image and in that tone.
They wouldn't support Little Richard, who was really the father of
rock and
roll, funk, and hip hop. Because James Brown was studied under Little Richard. The guys that pervaded these new forms of music studied under Little Richard. So he said that he couldn't be put on. He wasn't allowed to perform unless he came across or operated very femininely. And then they realized he was feminine, or he projected femininity. They no longer had a fear of allowing him to entertain their children.
Yeah. They weren't afraid to put his music inside the house.
It was an abomination for them to listen to it back in the day.
Yep.
Except for the softies. They're allowed.
Yep. So let's go back and let's get that in Kings. I mean, 2 Kings 23. You have verse 7, right?
Yeah, you want 8 or 7?
Yeah, read verse 7.
2 Kings 23 and 7. He break down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of the Lord.
So we would continually have this worship next to the house of the Lord.
It's crazy.
These were alternative places of worship that have never disappeared. For every church you got some type of Magic City, Tootsie's, whatever spot you want to call it, King of Diamonds, whatever, KOD, Chippendales, whatever. Forever, so there's alternative forms of worship that still exist to this day. So what was happening in Numbers was the nations trying to get us to perform these same forms of worship, these cult practices. And that's what it didn't say in Numbers chapter 25 of what it was trying to do. It just says that they brought these women in and they ate and bowed themselves down. There's more to it than just eating and bowing yourself down. There's details behind it. Give me 1 Kings chapter 15 verse 11 and 12.
Yeah, 1 Kings 15 and 11.
And then somebody else give me Joshua chapter 22 verse 17.
You said Joshua what?
22 and 17.
1 Kings chapter 15 verse 11. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father.
Go ahead.
And he took away the Sodomites out of the land.
Go ahead.
And removed all the idols that his fathers had made.
Because the Sodomites, they go together with the what?
Idols.
With the idols, with idolatry. They go together. They go together. You read them quite frequently. That's part of the worship. That's part of the cult practices. Give me Deuteronomy. Joshua chapter 22 verse 17.
Come, Joshua chapter 22, verse 17 reads, is the iniquity of Peor too little?
Stop. So you got to know what, when we read Numbers chapter 25, we got to know what physically they were doing and what they were trying to get us to do and perform, and also what spiritually Peor represents. Peor, that mountain Peor, and the worship of Baal Peor, the deity that they observed on that mountain, it means something spiritually. Read it.
Come. Joshua chapter 22, verse 17 reads, is the iniquity of Peor too little for us?
It says, is that a small thing that we worship Baal Peor, or the Lord of the opening, which requires a sacrifice, both a sex act and a dietary sacrifice?
Wow.
Peor requires both. He requires a sex act and a slaughter, a food sacrifice. He said, is that a small thing? And if you do notice how the gentleman's club or the cabarets, they always got a meal special.
Yeah.
They always got like a steak and fries for $3.99.
Like $1.
Yeah, it's like cheap, like steak and fries $3.99. They got 2-for-1s. They got burger and fries $3.99. They got a meal to go with
the activities.
with the activities. They go together. He says, but is that a small thing? Because today we look at that as like, man, that's common. Everybody hang out. Everybody go somewhere. There's just a hangout. It's not a small thing. Read it again.
Is it the iniquity of Peor too little for us, from which we are not cleansed unto this day?
He says, how long does that damn worship of this particular idol, Baal Peor, which is about the worship of groves, imagery, women on a pole, cult practices, sacrifices, song and dance, along with food and meal in this particular position throwing money. He says, this sin, Joshua was complaining that once you indulge in this, man, this sin is hard to get rid of out of a community, out of a nation, out of a society. He said this thing is going to keep popping up. Joshua was still saying, man, this is the problem to this day. We're still dealing with this sin. We're still having trouble with this. And we might not think it's a big deal today because it's so common. But he's showing how when you let this wickedness in, when you introduce people to the worship of Baal Peor, they become attracted to it, addicted to it. Shit, even T-Pain said, I'm in love with who? He had a whole, and that was a hit.
That's the reason why it was a hit.
It was a hit, bro. Yeah. She popping, she rolling.
They play it inside too, just for.
You be at Walmart with it on, like damn, but it's so common. But he's saying that once you let this in to a culture, it's going to be hard to get it out. It's hard to remove. Read it.
Come, from which we are not cleansed unto this day.
Read on.
Although there was a plague in the congregation
it says,
of the Lord.
Although the Most High plague, and we're going to read it, we're going to go back to Numbers and get into that. But he says, although there was a plague and the Most High destroyed many men, had to die behind the worship of that practice, he's saying the effects of it are still around. When you introduce this into communities, it has long-standing effects. Sister said online, it becomes an addiction. Absolutely. You know what? Because for one, if it's the female, and there's male and female dancers, entertainers is what they want to call them now. But if it's the female, she said, I'm going to just do this until I pay my way through school. Mm-hmm. But then it becomes what?
A lifestyle.
A lifestyle. Then you got dudes that do it. Like, who's that dude that's on trial right now with P. Diddy?
Yeah.
The Punisher?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah. He was a Harlem brother. I'm not going to go into detail.
Yeah.
He was a brother from Harlem. He changed his hustle because everybody picks a different hustle.
He was a basketball player.
And he said, I'm going to switch my hustle. And he started marketing himself to these, individual private families or, just people that have this certain type of itch.
He was a male entertainer.
Yeah. And then he looks up and then he started to get famous people pulling him. He had no idea for a whole year. A whole year went by. He had no idea whose house he was in. I'll keep it light.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe one of them was got a salary, like $100,000 salary.
Oh
yeah, he was
just live in the house.
He was on payroll. He was on payroll to be a male prostitute.
Yeah.
An indoor, in-house male, like Farnsworth Bentley.
Yeah. On call too. He was on call.
Right?
He had shifts.
Yeah. Let's just say he said he had so much Viagra, he felt like he almost had a heart attack. He was about to have a heart attack.
He almost died. Huh?
But he got himself into the business. But it became he's not going. If that's what he's been doing, he's already compromised himself.
Yeah.
He already has a market. He has a clientele list, and they're paying big money for it. He's in the game now. Yeah. Now you're standing on trial.
He's a dog, yeah.
But this is what the Most High said. Like this is hard to get rid of amongst our people. Once you let this behavior in, this alternative form of worship, people will choose this easily. Only few individuals, as far as kings, eradicated these idol temples, these altars, the Sodomites, and the cult practices, and their high places and their groves. Only a few good kings eradicated it. Not many. But when you leave our people with an alternative, we'll take the alternative. Joshua is saying that once you let this evil in, it's going to be hard to get out. Read.
Come, verse 18. But that ye must turn away this day from following the Lord.
It says, but what Baal Peor represents in the spirit is turning away from the Lord. Although we look at it as dancing, we look at it as entertainment. We look at it as it's a job. We look at it as occupation. We look at it as temporary. I'm not going to be here long. I'm just going to make my money, get in and get out. Or I'm just going to sing, wear this dress. I'm going to sing at this note. Once I get myself, a certain amount of success, I'm not in it for the success. I just want to make some money and get out.
Side hustle.
It's a side hustle. We call it whatever we want to call it, but it has a spiritual connotation to it. what it represents is it's when our people, anything that deals with serving Baal Peor, no matter what aspect of the cult practice it is, it's looked at as turning away from the Lord. We can kind of clean up the name and give it the best name and give it the best title and make it sound like it's innocent and it's just what people do, or it's a rite of passage for a man. When my son turned 18, me and him going to hit the club, and I'm gonna buy him a dancer, and I'm gonna throw some money out there. It's a rite of passage, man. Whatever you want to call it, is sick. Because, or same thing with a mom. I'm gonna take her to the club, and we're gonna wear matching heels and matching dresses and matching clothes, and we're gonna kill them tonight. Yeah, we about to stun on them tonight. But whatever you call it, he's saying that what it represents in the spirit is what?
It says, but that ye must turn away this day from following the Lord.
Go ahead.
And it will be, seeing ye rebel today against the Lord.
And it's looked at as what spiritually?
Rebellion against the Lord.
It's what we call fun, entertainment, the nightlife, whatever you want to call it, is biblically looked at as turning from the Lord, and it's rebellion. I'm just making my money. You make money. I make money. It's my job. It's my hustle. Whatever you want to call it, it's classified as rebellion, and you're turning your back on the Most High. Regardless of what good connotations that you say, what I'm gonna do with the money when I get it, because that's what we all say.
Yeah.
When I get the money, I'm gonna change. I'm doing it to change my dynamic, my situation. I'm doing it to get out of poverty. I'm gonna buy my mama a house.
Yep.
I'm gonna get all my brothers and sisters. We finna get out the ghetto, out the projects. I'm gonna use it as a tool to get out.
Tired of suffering.
But spiritually, it has a connotation to it. Spiritually, it has a deeper meaning. You're just rebelling against the Lord. We don't know this, though. We don't know this as being classified as serving Baal Peor when we're in this industry, or given to these proclivities and this lifestyle, or this entertainment, so to speak, or indulging in the flesh. You don't realize you just turned your back on the Lord. Read that again.
Come, verse 18 from the top. But that ye must turn away this day from following the Lord.
Go ahead. This ain't no small thing. Read.
And it will be, seeing ye rebel today against the Lord, that tomorrow he will be wroth with the whole congregation of Israel.
And this activity, this behavior, angers the Most High. And he takes it out on the whole congregation. And this is why when he says he walks through the camp, he's got to make sure that everything's clean and holy. And none of these activities are prevalent. Whether it's the porn industry, whether it's porn addiction, whether it's the lust, I'm entertaining my lust, all these things got to be put away. Because the camp will suffer. The congregation will suffer through my indulgence. And the nations understand this. The nations understand this. They understand that if they can get our people to indulge and worship other deities by way of their lust, they got us. The Most High is no longer with us. He's angry with us. He's no longer protecting us. He's no longer defending us. They got us. So they understand this. So go to Josephus. Give me the Josephus. We got a Josephus. We're going to go to page, let's go to book 4, chapter 8, paragraph 9. Read that.
Khan, Antiquity of the Jews, Book 4, Chapter 8, Paragraph 9, page 116, line 206. You are not to offer sacrifices out of the hire of a woman who is unhearted, for the deity is not pleased with anything.
He says the deity is not pleased with anything, read,
that arises from such abuses of nature.
Pimping, Because we glorify pimping,
Yeah.
playing on women, gaming on women, hustling on women, taking advantage of women, or women do the same thing. He's a lame, he's a sucker. I'm gonna use him. He gonna buy me this. He gonna buy me that. He gonna take care of me. He gonna pay my bills. But I'm gonna use my assets, so to speak, to get what I need and get what I want. I'm gonna use lust to entertain him. I'm gonna use seduction. I'm gonna use my sexuality to get what I want. All these are an abuse of nature. And what we think is we can use the money from it. The Most High said, man, I reject any money coming from the abuse of nature. I don't care how you got it. If you use lust to get it, if you misappropriated your body to obtain it, the Most High said, I reject any and all finances that come from that. People will say, well, I got to get it how I live. People make excuses. But the Most High said, man, listen, I don't want nothing to do with the behavior that's associated with you misappropriating your body, regardless if you think some money's coming from it. That money is toxic. That money is polluted. Don't bring it to me.
It's defiled.
It's defiled. Read it again.
Con, you are not to offer sacrifices out of the hire of a woman who is a harlot, for the deity is not pleased with anything that arises from such abuses of nature, of which sort none can be worse than this prostitution of the body.
He said nothing is worse than the what?
Prostitution of the body.
So male or female, did you use your body to get ahead in life? Male or female? Did you use your body to get ahead in life? To get an advantage? Am I selling sex to get up out of debt or out the hole, or to get myself comfortable?
You gotta use what you got to get what you want.
Use what you got to get what you want.
That's the real saying. And now online they're going crazy right now. They're turning up on us. Don't y'all let this happen. Y'all let Trump get in office. Y'all let this happen. Don't be surprised if you see me out there selling. She was giving a crazy speech out. She says, I don't want to hear nothing about it. I don't hear a thing. You let him in office. If I gotta live, I'm gonna live. And she totally blew up on. She blew
on
up.
camera.
She blew up.
She's saying, I'm gonna go all the way left.
She's justifying destroying her temple because Trump's in office.
Does it mean that then if that's like me saying, and don't let Trump get in office, man, because all them rocks out there on the don't get mad because I'm gonna flip them. I'm gonna flip them and sell them and distribute. I'm gonna start distributing. Don't get mad when I start. That obviously it's in this person already anyway. They just need a big enough excuse and a big enough reason to go left.
Yeah.
And they've already meditated on that idea, even for them to come out of the mouth and say that.
Yeah.
They've already thought about it. They've already meditated upon it. That I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get this. What he's saying, man, if you using your body for an advantage or gain or leverage, it's defiling. It's defiling in the eyes of the Most High. But this is what the nations know. This is what the nations are using to defile us right before we get into the promised land. They know what we're weak at. They know what we're weak to. But finish that in Josephus.
In like manner, no one may take the price of a covering of a dog, either one that is used in hunting or in keeping of sheep, and then sacrifice to the Most High.
It said the Most High don't want no finances that are brought in illicitly, even coming from a female woman that's using her body as a harlot or an actual dog in the physical sense. The Most High don't want money all money ain't good money. And we feel like, well, I got a lot of times, hate to say it, but a lot of times, people are paying bills, using their body, not realizing that the Most High is rejecting these sacrifices and these offerings. I'm doing favors for favors. I'm using my body for favors. The Most High ain't with that either. Paul said it's better to marry than to what?
Burn.
If you burn it that bad, you don't get married then. But to do something for favors, to compromise your sexuality and your body for favors, he said, the deity is not pleased with anything that arises from such abuses of nature. He said, you're abusing yourself. Man. But let's get back to Numbers chapter 23. Yes, sir. Somebody had a question? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes 34 and 18.
I don't. What does it say?
Ecclesiastes 34 and 18. He that sacrifices of a thing wrongfully gotten, his offering is ridiculous.
That's clear as it can be. It said, he that sacrifices of a thing wrongfully gotten. Go ahead.
His offering is ridiculous.
Go ahead.
And the gifts of unjust men are not accepted.
Read on.
The Most High is not pleased with the offerings of the wicked. Neither is he pacified for sin by the multitude of sacrifices.
So the Most High is not pleased. So he's not pleased with illicit lifestyles that we say this is how I live and this is how I got to make it. There's no excuses for that. And when I bring whatever I bring to the table, there's no excuses for that. So the Most High is looking at how we live our lives and what we're using to get by in life. And there's no justification for the prostitution of the body, male or female. But this is what they're using in Numbers chapter 25. It doesn't just, although we just read verse 2, read verse 2 again.
Numbers chapter 25, verse 2. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods.
So now we understand what these sacrifices entail. They're not just saying, hey, worship this image. What they're saying is, listen, we're gonna use our body and you get to do what you want to do with my body, but I need you to do something also. I need you to pay homage to this deity, Baal Peor. I need you to worship Astarte, the Queen of Heaven. There's a price to pay. But in return, you get to physically do to me whatever you want to do. So what we do is we're stuck like, man, do I satisfy the flesh or satisfy the spirit? You got to always satisfy the spirit. We always go wrong satisfying the flesh. And this is why it says, be not unequally yoked with who?
Unbelievers.
Unbelievers. Tied together with unbelievers. Because either I'm worshiping what they worship or they're going to follow what I'm following. But it's going to create a conflict of interest if I'm following their deity just for the satisfaction of the flesh. I'm satisfying what they believe in just to pacify the flesh. Or I'm indulging with this person even though this person don't believe in the Most High. Read. Now let that go. That's a great verse. Go back to Numbers chapter 25, verse 2.
Numbers 25, verse 2. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat.
And so when he says they called the people to the sacrifices of their God, there was a sex act involved. There was some sexuality involved. They compromised their bodies for unrighteousness. It was bigger than just, hey, come serve these images. They got naked with these women, and that was part of the plan. We got to get them to worship these gods so that their God is not with them, so that their God doesn't protect them, so that their God doesn't defend them. What better way than to excite a man by lust? What better way to get a man weakened and vulnerable and unprotected than to throw a woman at him? Throw some favors at him. This is right before we got to the promised land. On the verge of actually having independence. Having power over ourselves. Being away from our enemies. And we still give in to what? Abominations. A lust. And that's how it always is. The bigger the opportunity, the bigger the contrary opposition and desire is going to be to go left. The bigger the blessing, the larger the temptation. And this goes right along with, if you can recall, when you first got this truth, how all things started coming against you to not get the truth. All kind of events popped up, all kind of scenarios. Friends came back in the picture. Family started having opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunities, job opportunities, things to take you out of state. All of a sudden, concerned individuals and people that was never concerned about you in life, all of a sudden they're concerned about your spirituality. So the bigger the steps you take in the spirit, the larger the steps are to defy you to get you out of the spirit. And we got to be conscious of this thing. Anytime that we're on the verge of ascension, there's always going to be an opponent. And so for what we were about to inherit, they had to use a big temptation. They had to use a strong one at that to get us to be defiled going into the promised land, so the Most High don't protect us. He says, and we gave in and we did eat. What is he saying? Go to Acts chapter 15, verse 29. Go to Acts chapter 15, verse 29.
Now in Acts chapter 15, verse 29. Acts 15:29. That ye abstain from meats offered to idols.
So when it says that they did eat, what were they feeding these men when they got them to indulge and worship these idols?
Sacrifice meat.
It was meat. They weren't just eating regular food. They were eating meat that was sacrificed to who?
In the name of an idol.
In the name of an idol. This meat, there were certain meats that was used, that was sacrificed to these idols, to Baal Peor, to Astarte. It wasn't just regular meat. It was meat that was slayed in honor of a deity. Read that again.
God, verse 29. That ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication.
So he's showing how this is what idol worship is about. We're having this dinner. We're having this cookout. We're having this barbecue. We're having this feast day. And you know it too in the office. They always got snacks on the counter. They always got certain meats in the break room for certain idolatrous paganistic holidays.
Yeah, and you're right. It's always a festive feast. We have a ritual drink right here for this. This is the drink we drink when it gets cold. This is the
eggnog.
These are the cakes and the little guys, the little
characters. And if you're in Puerto Rico, what is it? The coquito? It's the coquito. That's the celebratory drink only made for special occasions for the holiday, for Christmas. For the coquito. Special drinks. Or that nutmeg milk. Does Issachar have one too?
Yeah, we have a few.
Say it again. Rom pepe.
It's like this.
Rom pepe. Rom pepe. Oh, rom pompe.
It's like a name mix, like eggnog.
It's like, okay, so it's got probably some nutmeg, got some liquor in it too. It has the liquor is a drink offering, but we don't know why we do it. We don't be knowing why we do it, and we be having these drink offerings, and they always got like some cinnamon, some cloves, some nutmeg. I don't. It's like
what is
pumpkin.
It about?
Yeah, it's about that fall, that deity, whoever that fertility deity is.
He likes that.
He likes that fall festive drink with those particular spices during that time of year. The coquito got the same spices in it. It's got nutmeg. It's got some cinnamon. It got some clove in it. It's like, damn it, why is it that it's always these particular ingredients with milk, with liquor?
Yeah.
It's always these particular drinks coinciding for this particular holiday.
It's that season again.
For this particular deity. Yes, sir.
And I ain't gonna lie, they make a lot of money off that. When they selling the holiday, they make tons of money.
Because you can make it, you could pretty much make it yourself at the house. You can kind of, and they say that the strength of the liquor is different in every bottle.
Yeah.
Some of them are strong. Some of them come out strong drinks. and some of them come out light. But you know, there's never like a specific percentage of alcohol in it when you make it. Yes, sir.
And you can put in any glass milk bottle you want to. You can sell it just like that.
Yeah, it ain't got to be labeled or nothing.
You had a random bottle with full coquito and have it.
Right, but these are drink offerings that we pour out to different deities for these time of year, for these festivities. There's got to be, we got to do some research on them. I'm sure with enough research and enough, digging, we can find out specifically why does it have to be clove? Why does it got to have nutmeg in it? Why does it have to have cinnamon in it? Who was the first deities requiring that particular combination of spices? But we know it goes back somewhere. And these drink offerings go back to serving the Queen of Heaven, serving deities, idol worship, paganistic worship. Read that again.
Verse 29.
Mm-hmm.
That ye abstain from meats offered to idols.
Then there's certain foods, certain times of the year that are dedicated to certain idols. But that's a whole nother class. I'm sure we can make a whole class out of that, about the food and the drinks that are worshipped to idols at certain times. I'm sure we can do a whole class on that. Mm-hmm. But he's showing how this is part of the worship, though. It's part of the cult practice to do these things. Illicit sexual activities and the food and drink offerings. They go together. And this is why it says, wine and women shall make a man of understanding fall away. This is the ingredients. These are the tools that they're using to displace us with our power. Now go back to Numbers chapter 25, verse 3.
Numbers chapter 25, verse 3. It says, And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Most High was kindled against Israel. And the Most High said unto Moses, Take all the heads of the people, and hang them up before the Most High against the sun.
So the Most High at this point is furious. The Most High is like, man, whoever's involved with this practice, cut their head off and put it on a pole, hang it up before the sun. If the Most High said take their heads off and hang it up against the sun in the morning, so that their faces could be shown in plain daylight that these are the culprits. These are the ones that defile the camp. These are the ones that bring disapproval to the Most High, to the body, and make the camp unholy. The Most High is like, man, put these guys on blast. Take their head off and put it out. The Most High has to be angry to do this. To take it to this degree, he's showing you how weak we get to our flesh, utilized by the nations as a tool against us. They can always use our flesh against us. Whether it's pornography, whether it's participation in some illicit activities, whether it's wearing dresses, drinking something, eating something, they have a way to defile us as a nation to keep us vulnerable. And we just don't see it. We just don't see it that the only strategy that the nations has is to get you to break the Most High's commandments. That's really the only thing that gives them the upper hand against us.
Like the serpent.
Yeah, using lust. The pride of life, lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes. Man, that's all that's in the world. But these are the strategies that the nations know that we can weaken these people with. If we get strong to all things, then we can become powerful and plugged in with the Most High, not vulnerable to being destroyed. The Most High said, man, cut their heads off and put them up and face it towards the sun. Read on.
That the fierce anger of Yahweh may be turned away from Israel.
Because something has to pacify the Most High's anger. Something has to pacify his anger. Read.
Verse 5. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, Slay ye every one his men that were joined unto Baal Peor.
He says, kill every single man that was joined, that participated in the sex act and them eating festivals, that meat that was sacrificed to deities. Kill every man involved. Read.
And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses, and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Go ahead.
And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. And he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through.
So he said, inside Phinehas, he couldn't stand it anymore. While Moses was given the order, go ahead and cut these men, cut all these men, all the participants, cut all these men's heads off and hang it up like the Most High said. The actions of us were still going on. We were still participating in the midst of this, of the order as it was being dropped. We were still committing these violations. And Phinehas like, man, listen, we about to lose all these men. Heads got to get cut off. And we're still going to do this. We still about to do this. And this man is he's bold to do this out in the open. Go to Josephus. Page 112. And start at 150, line 152. It's book 4, chapter 6, paragraph 12, and it's line 152.
Ready?
Yep.
Khan, Antiquity of the Jews, book 4, chapter 6, paragraph 12, line 152. Phinehas, a man in other respects better than the rest of the young men, and also one that surpassed his contemporaries in the dignity of his father. For he was the son of Eleazar the high priest, and the grandson of Aaron, Moses' brother, who was greatly troubled at what was done by Zimri. He resolved in earnest to inflict punishment on him, before his unworthy behavior should grow stronger by
Impunity.
And in order to prevent this transgression from proceeding further, which would happen in the ringleaders were not punished.
He says, what if you don't eradicate people that are living illicit lives, remove that example, what will happen with that example when they see that being done amongst Israel? When somebody brings in an activity or a behavior that's unclean into a camp or a body, what will happen to everybody when they see just one person being a ringleader, or one person participating in weakness or defiling themselves and bringing that into the body? What will happen?
Transgressions proceed further.
Yes.
They will become influenced.
Right.
I would say that it'll spread like cancer.
It'll spread. You got to eradicate what you got.
Almost treat it like the consent. Almost like the action gives everyone else consent.
It's permissible.
Yes.
Because when you let that behavior in, it's like, is that what Israel, is that okay? Because that's always the question that people ask. When they see something that they don't understand, they always say, well, what is the rules on this? That's no different than if a brother see another brother with a vape pen. What will the idea come to mind?
It's not actually
The law?
smoke.
It's water.
It's a safer form of. So we can do this.
Which is not. It's not that either.
This is a safer form.
It's worse. Actually.
Way worse.
They
justify. They start to justify it.
If one brother comes in a camp with a vape pen, how many light bulbs will pop off and question marks will come in the children's mind and sisters' mind and other men's mind of what is permissible? If one man just come in with a vape pen, you just see one brother, hey, shalom, just one little cloud of perfumed vapor fluid that's been burnt in a little mechanical LED lit lithium ion battery propelled incenser that will diffuse and vaporize the liquid into a smoke. All it takes is one person. There's one person to bring something in your house or into a camp, and then get that influence now will start to spread. And that influence will start to permeate other people's minds to start asking questions. Well, what is legal? What is the legal limit now? How far can we go as Israelites? Because then the question will be, well, man, I can say, well, man, this is just this is an alternative form of smoke. This is a safer version of tobacco. This only has the isolated nicotine by itself. It doesn't have the actual tobacco leaf in it. It doesn't have the fiberglass in it. It doesn't have the cancer-causing agents in it. This is just the isolated version of the nicotine element added with the cherry flavor. Mm-hmm. A natural organic cherry flavor. Oh, yeah. So now all you did was you just threw it in the air that this is okay. You just open the door up. But does it stop there?
Nope.
No, because it goes from there to, well, this is the THC version of this. And this doesn't have the actual cannabis sativa plant. It just has the CBD. Isolated cannabinoids that are isolated. And these isolated cannabinoids infused in a liquid form, vaporized into a gas, is what this is. So if you could do that, then I could do this. So once you open the door, what he's saying is, what Phineas is doing, he's cutting the head off the snake. What Phineas is doing is, he's not giving any room for any sin whatsoever. And that's how you got to be at your house. And that's how you got to be in your homes. And that's how you got to be in the camp. You got to stop all influences at the door. Because when you start leaving question marks and what ifs and what's the limit and is this okay and if that's not, well, I don't know about that. If you don't learn how to do what Leviticus chapter 10 verse 10 say, read that. Leviticus chapter 10 verse 10. If you don't learn how to do that, you're going to have a problem in your house, and you're going to have a problem in your life, and you're going to have a problem in the spirit moving forward. Because imagery is very important, and influence is very important. So when you see a sister wearing a skirt that may be high, too high, higher than normal, another sister once said, well, she wore one that was an inch above the knee. Well, mine's only 2 inches above the knee. So what's the limit? What's the limit? Now we're talking about like, well, in school they make you put your hands by your side, right? Well, that's the limit then. What if you got short arms? If you got short arms, then guess what? You can wear a higher skirt. You know what I'm saying? But what happens if you don't put limitations and you blur the lines of these limitations? Read that.
Come. Leviticus chapter 10 and verse 10 reads, and that ye may put a difference between holy and unholy.
You have to put a difference between what?
Holy and unholy.
Go ahead.
And between unclean and clean.
It is our job to put a difference and a separation and a dividing line between what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And you cannot create room for question marks and gray areas and blurred lines. You cannot, you got to put distinctions in between examples, especially when you're setting an example. When you're setting an example and setting a tone, you can't be changing things up saying, well, today it's okay, tomorrow it's not okay.
What are you saying?
Tomorrow, you know, we can hit licks, we can yai-quab, but just don't do it on this day or don't do it on that. It's a Sabbath, so you don't yai-quab. Either you're yai-quab or you're not yai-quab. What are we saying here? But either you're going to make it legal or not. But you can't have these, dealing with our people, if there's no stark contrast between right and wrong, our people will ride the middle. Yep. And then they'll choose the right and the wrong themselves. They'll decide, hey, today it's right, tomorrow maybe not tomorrow, maybe today. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. So what we have to do is we have to understand the power of influence amongst our people and what they need to see. So in that example of setting a tone or setting a precedence or setting a pace, Phineas has said, I'm done with, because this influence is running rampant. Now everybody's doing it, and not only are they doing it, they've gotten so bold as to do it out in the open. Because that's what they're doing. That's what Phineas is saying, man. These people, the children of Israel will get so bold where they don't even hide it no more. I'm not even hiding it. You just got to accept that this is what I'm doing.
This is who I am.
This is who I am. Now I'm out the closet with it. So Phineas is like, no, we finna kill this and stop this right now. Read that again.
Come. Or you talking about
Josephus.
Okay.
You already read Leviticus 10 and 10. Read that.
From the top? Or
No, just from where he says,
where I left off?
yeah, where he says,
He was
I want it. He says, before his word, it says,
before
Zimri, he say, he resolved in earnest.
he resolved in earnest to inflict punishment on him.
He said, it says, Phineas took it upon himself and said, man, I can't let this get out of hand. This is too much. Our people are getting so bold as to serve this damn pagan god and do the things pertaining to the worship of this god, which is to lay down with these women and to eat this meat sacrificed to idols. I got to stop this right now. It's getting out of hand. Read.
Before his unworthy behavior should grow stronger by impunity.
It says, and it will grow stronger by impunity. Read on.
And in order to prevent this transgression from proceeding further.
And he said, I got to stop this action from proceeding further. Read.
Which would happen if the ringleaders were not punished.
It says, and if we don't cut and stop the ringleaders, the propagators of this behavior, he said this thing is going to get out of control. And you have to put your foot down, is what he's saying. You have to put your foot down for righteousness. Otherwise, wickedness will get out of control and things will become, people will get bolder in their wickedness. Our people get stronger. They get headstrong in wickedness.
Yeah.
When you open the door for negativity and wickedness, we push the door, we kick the door down.
Yeah.
You can't, we flood the gates. You leave any opportunity for sin, and we want to go all the way in it. Read.
He was of so great magnanimity, both in strength of mind and body, that when he undertook any very dangerous attempt, he did not leave it off till he overcame it, and he got an entire victory.
Go ahead.
So he came into Zimri's tent and slew him with his javelin, and with it he slew Cosby also, in which also upon which all those young men that had a regard to virtue.
It says, so with Phineas setting the tone of we're stopping this right here. This behavior is going no further. We're not doing this right now. This is not what we're about. And this is too much. And the buck stops here. With that in mind, he says it gave him the energy necessary to perform his victorious action, which was to take a javelin and thrust not just through one person, but two in one shot. Which means you had to use some force.
Some power will come up.
Yeah. But that type of enthusiasm for righteousness is honestly what we all need. Because if you don't have that type of zeal for righteousness, then you're going to okay a lot of things that shouldn't be okayed.
Wow.
And you're going to let a lot of things slide in your households that you shouldn't let slide. And you're not going to push yourself to certain degrees that you feel like are going to make you uncomfortable simply because you lack the zeal necessary to go the extra mile to stop the BS when you see BS and when you see negativity. You got to be able to put your foot down. And a lot of times, the culture of our homes, the culture of our camps are watered down because we don't have the ability to put our foot down. When the time to say, hey man, we're not doing that. This is not what we're doing. This is not what but we're not letting this in. Hey brother, you want to hit your vape pen? You ain't coming in here. You can be whatever camp doctrine you want to follow that lets you do that. You are not doing it here. This is why we don't even really want men that wear fringes to be wearing fringes with cigarettes in their hand, or that we know that have the propensity to just be in violation when they represent the nation of Israel out in public. Why wear the fringes when you gonna pollute yourself? We want fringes at the we want fringes at the cabaret.
It's crazy, bro.
But there has to be a dividing line that you gotta say this is enough when I see it, because I know right from wrong. And although I may see a lot of my people giving into it, and they may feel like, hey man, you can't control everybody, this man is saying, listen, I'm taking a stance for righteousness. And when you do, it's honorable in the eyes of the Most High. A lot of us don't have that zeal to put our foot down. You know when we put our foot down? Only when we're offended.
That's the difference.
That's the only time we put our foot down. Well, this person offended me. This person got under my skin, or this person did me wrong. But you didn't stand up when you saw this person do this other brother wrong. So it wasn't that bad until they did it to you. Or it wasn't that bad until they disrespected you personally. Or you let this person talk this way so that the kid could talk to the mother any kind of way, and dad's okay with it, but you ain't finna talk to me like that. Or vice versa. The kid could talk to dad any kind of way, but it's only wrong when you talk to me this way. Now I watch you talk to your dad this way, I ain't had nothing to say about it. But as soon as you offend me,
I'm your mother.
I'm your mother. You know who I am? Well, how come you didn't have that same stance for righteousness when you saw him talking to his dad that way? Or her talking to her dad that way? Why is it wrong now because it's you? Why wasn't it wrong before? Because that's how we like to do. We like to pick and choose when things are wrong and when we have enough with righteousness, only when we're offended. Then all of a sudden, hey, I got to put my foot down. No, man, but you let this person slide. You let this person talk crazy to their teacher. You let them talk crazy to their counselor. You let them talk crazy to their coach. You let them talk crazy to the staff. You let them talk crazy to the teacher's assistant. Any and everybody in public. But it's not a problem until they talk to you crazy. You could have cut that madness off a long time ago. You could have stopped that madness and put your foot down, and you thought it was cute. It's cute when it's everybody else. As long as you don't talk to me like that, it ain't cute. But the scriptures say, watch over a bold, impotent eye. It won't be long before they trespass against you.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time. But we're only offended when somebody defiles us or disrespects us or is fronting on us and coming at us. Wrong is wrong. Filth is filth. Wickedness is wickedness. And what the Most High is doing is saying, man, who's going to stand up for me when they see corrupt behavior? Who's going to stand up for me when we see people out of hand? Ezekiel, hold that. Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 30.
That's you.
Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 30.
Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 30. And I sought for a man among them.
He says, the Most High said he's looking for a man amongst us. Read on.
That should make up the hedge.
It says that will put up a what?
The hedge.
What is a hedge?
Protection.
What is another word for hedge?
Standard.
It's a wall. It's also a fence. It's a barrier. It's a border. It's an impediment. It's something that stops something. So the Most High said, man, I'm looking for men that are willing to put up a wall, to put up an impediment, to put up a barrier, to put up a fence The Most High said, I'm looking for men to do this. Go ahead.
And stand in the gap before me.
It says, that will stand in the gap between me and my people. Who is willing, who has enough care, enough enthusiasm, enough care for righteousness to where they're willing to stand between the Most High and his people to do what? Read.
For the land, that I should not destroy it.
He says, who's going to stop me from destroying them? I need somebody to stand in between me and these people from them sinning so I don't destroy them. Isn't that the whole reason why the Most High set us up as watchmen?
Yep.
He says, when you see the sword come upon the land, that you sound the trumpet to warn the people from me, to prevent destruction, so that at least that you can get them to quit before I get to them. Because if I get to them, it's too late. So the Most High is looking for people as stopgaps for sin and negativity. He's looking for people that are stopgaps for confusion and stupidity.
A lot of people are embarrassed to be those figures.
Yes.
They're embarrassed and they're diffident. They're very soft-spirited and shy and weak-hearted, weak-natured when it comes to having to, push the Father's way. If the Father's way matters, then I don't have any courage. But when it comes to talking ish or arguing with somebody, who's got all power?
Yeah. But you know why we're weak to that? Because I don't want to lose no friends. Or I don't want to get this person to not like me.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to lose favor, benefits, opportunity, friendship. Paul said, am I your enemy because what?
Truth.
I tell you the truth? Am I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Sometimes, hey, man, it might be that. But the Most High is looking for people that's willing to tell our people the truth. That, hey, man, this behavior is out of order. This is out of control. This is too much. Your mouth is too much. Your behavior is too much. Your disrespect is too much. Your iniquity is too much. What's coming out, your offenses is too much. And the Most High is looking for individuals to stand in the gap, to make up the difference between him and the people, to preserve the land so he don't have to destroy it. That's what Phinehas is doing. He's standing in the gap because the Most High had already said, listen, man, cut these men's head off. Moses, go cut all these men's heads off and put them up, face them towards the sun. The Most High has already made a declaration. Phinehas' actions pacified the wrath of the Most High. Any more on that?
God, that I should not destroy it, but I found none.
He said, but the Most High said what?
I found none.
He don't find it. Which means what?
Nobody.
There's not a lot of men that are willing to go against the grain, being unpopular and being uncomfortable, to make the difficult decisions, to tell people that they're wrong, and be willing to lose the friendships that go along with it.
Not one to outcast himself, so to speak.
Right. And making the unpopular decision to tell people when they're wrong. He said, the Most High said, man, I find none. I don't find a lot of people that's willing to do this. That's why Phinehas' actions stand out so much. Because he was the only one willing to step up to, like, man, he hate the sin like the Most High hate the sin. He's the only one that said, man, enough is enough. This got to stop now. He's the only one to take that mind frame. This is enough. How much wickedness is our people going to do? He said he found none. Let that go and go back where you are in the Josephus, line 154. You're at page 112.
Says, upon which all those young men that had a regard to virtue and named to do a glorious action imitated Phinehas' boldness.
But just like wickedness is influential, What else is influential?
Wickedness.
No,
Righteousness.
no.
Righteousness.
No. Wickedness is influential, right or wrong.
God.
But what else is influential?
Righteousness.
Read that part again, 154. Maybe we didn't catch it.
Upon which all those young men.
Next man, read Titus chapter 2, verse 14.
Upon which all those young men that had regard to virtue.
It says it took a spark to ignite those other men that actually had a regard to virtue. They actually had the desire to do right. They didn't give in to just participating in these sex acts with these women and eating this meat that was sacrificed to idols. There was other men that had a care for righteousness also. They just needed to be activated. They were just dormant in their desire. They just didn't have any action behind their desire, but they had it in them to do it. They just needed a spark. So it was the zeal of Phineas that gave those other men that care about doing things the right way the spark they need to continue. Read that. Hold that in Titus. Read that one more time.
Upon which all those young men that regard, upon which all those young men that had a regard to virtue, and aimed to do glorious action, imitated Phineas' boldness.
They did what?
Imitated Phineas' boldness.
Go ahead.
And slew those that were found to be guilty of the same crime with Zimri.
So his action sparked a tidal wave of other men doing the same thing he did. Listen, man, we got to stop this now. We just watched Phineas deter this bold man from sacrificing and putting this man and that other woman Cosby to death, Zimri and Cosby to death. Now we're gonna find somebody else that's doing the same thing and knock the idea out of their mind and put them to death too. People need zeal in order to be activated to do good deeds, to do righteousness. Just like you got a ringleader that will spearhead the disillusion of the commandments, you got to have an equal opposite person, an antithesis to this person that's wicked. You have to have an equal person that's anti-corruptness, anti-compromise, stands for righteousness to oppose wickedness. And that's that war that's never going to go away. The Most High say he's a man of war. That's the war that we got to fight. We got to be those individuals, either the ones to initiate the zealous acts or the ones that imitate the zealous acts of others that are initiated and activated by zeal. We got to be those individuals. Read. No, let's finish. Go read that in Titus.
Titus chapter 2 and verse 14. Who gave himself for us that he might redeem us from all iniquity.
Christ died so we can be redeemed from all iniquity. Read.
And purified unto himself.
And Christ cleaned us up. He wants us to be clean, purified for himself. Christ chose us for a purpose. Read.
And purified unto himself a peculiar people.
And this is why the Most High separated the children of Israel, and specifically those that follow after Christ and imitate his actions. Read.
Zealous of good works.
It says Christ wants us all to be zealous of what?
Good works.
He wants us to have the same zeal that Phineas has. That means I have the zeal. I'm not going to wait around for righteousness to possibly happen. I'm going to initiate righteousness. I'm going to activate righteousness. I'm going to be the spark that other people need to see to perform righteous acts. There's a difference when you're active in the camp and you're enforcing righteousness versus one that's waiting to be told to do righteousness. It's in you to do righteousness, but you're just waiting to be told to do what's right. Oh, you know what? Oh, I saw this person do something wicked, but I didn't want to say nothing. I wasn't sure. I knew it was wrong, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to offend. I didn't know if it was my place. Did Phineas wait for a place?
No.
Did he wait for a time?
No.
Did he wait for permission?
No.
Did he go? Did he ask? Moses was there. Did he ask Moses? Moses was on site. But what did his care for righteousness do? I got to read this point right here on that particular point. Let me read this real quick. On that particular point right there, go back and finish that in where you got in. Let me find it. Finish that in what you got in the Josephus.
John. This is 155. Well, it says accordingly, little bit of brother 155. Accordingly, many of those that had transgressed perished by the magnanimous valor of these young men, and the rest all perished by a plague, which distemper the Most High himself inflicted upon them, so that all those their kindred, who instead of hindering them from such wicked actions as they ought to have done, and persuaded them to go on, were esteemed by the Most High as partners in their wickedness, and died.
He says, I won't get to that point. That's a great point he just made. He says, it says, accordingly, many of those that had transgressed perished by the magnanimous valor of these young men. So read this right here. What Phineas did right here. It says, this is Philo, page 539. Read that right there.
Come. It is well that a charge should be given to all those who have any admiration for virtue.
It says it is well, meaning it's a good thing for those to be commanded. A charge is a command, or to be commissioned or be ordained, or to be given a duty or an obligation. He said it is a good thing to be given a duty or an obligation, just like we read in Titus chapter 2 about why Christ died and cleaned us up, so we could be ready to do zealous actions. We can always be ready to do zealous actions. Not live in the gray, not be pacified with wickedness, or be neutral in wickedness, but to be stout motivators of and those that incite righteousness. He said it's a good thing. Read.
To all those who have any admiration for virtue.
Go ahead.
To inflict all such punishment.
It says to inflict all. We should be slapping. If you got an Israelite with a cigarette in his hand, you be slapping that damn cigarette out of his hand. You see how people doing wrong? Man, slap that out their hand, man. Yeah, man. Or I know it's an old reference, man. Homie the Clown, man. He got the sock with something inside the sock, just whop upside the head, man. Homie don't play that, man. You know, I know that's an old reference, man. But somebody got to tell our people, man, hey, man, you out of pocket, man. This is wrong. This is off. He said it's a good thing to have this charge, to have this ability to say, to identify, man, that's wrong. Or for somebody to say, man, this is out of pocket, man, this is disrespectful. This is too much. This is offensive. Read.
It says, all such punishment out of hand without any delay.
It said without what?
Any delay.
Now, even though Moses was right there, but did he have to wait he knew right from wrong. Do I gotta wait for Moses to say, Moses, should I do this? Man, that zeal for righteousness, the Most High looked past the fact that his elder was right there. Because he was zealous for righteous acts. Not to do his own thing, but to defend the Most High. We should be staunch defenders of the gospel. Read.
Not bringing them before either any judgment seat.
Did he say, hey, Moses, we need to counsel? We need to sit and have a counsel about the situation, man. His brother's tripping. Read.
Or any counsel.
He said, did he bring him before counsel?
No.
Did he take him to court?
No.
Go ahead.
Or any bench of magistrates.
Did he take him to the magistrate? I think this man broke a law of idolatry. I think he broke the law of idolatry.
Come on.
Read.
But giving vent to their own disposition, which hates evil.
He says he gave vent to his own disposition, That zeal that we're reading about of Phineas comes from a place. People that have this kind of zeal, they hate what? Wickedness. Remember last week we talked about two types of zeal. One is a zeal when you're enthusiastic for righteousness or to accomplish something. The other zeal is a zeal for liberty, to be free and do your own thing.
Right.
But this zeal, this incitement, this motivation that it takes to display this type of courage that Phineas is displaying, it comes from an intense hate of wickedness. If you don't really hate wickedness, you're going to be neutral when you see wickedness. You're going to be a bystander to wickedness. You know, our people love to say, well, you know, I ain't no snitch.
Yeah.
You know, because we got terms, snitches get stitches. We got terms, we got street terms, you know what I'm saying, that we go by. We got street codes that we go by. Wickedness is wickedness, man. Wickedness is wickedness. And if you hate wickedness, it'll give you the zeal necessary to stand in the gap and say what needs to be said. It'll give you the strength necessary to be a staunch advocate for righteousness. Read on.
It's just but
You know what happened? I'm not gonna lie. This is a story you drive me about.
You start laughing.
I was at South Park. And this little kid disrespected his grandma. He started cussing his grandma out, talking crazy, talking wild. In public, I found myself on top of him. This is a long time ago. And I was holding him down. And I said, "You took your grandmother." So a random nigga came through. This is the all Issachar. This is the all Issachar
Mall at South Park.
Mall. This is South Park. I was waiting for a ride. You know, sometimes you don't have a vehicle in Israel, right?
Yeah, a lot of times.
And bro, he was talking crazy. He was just talking like she wasn't nothing. And he was like, it was the worst thing you could see. And the spirit just pulled me, and I had to do something. But I'm saying that I don't think about these stories all the time, but this I can relate. That was just. Are you gonna stand here?
What was in you to make you so vocal?
Listen, bro.
To be hands-on like that.
I'm not gonna stand here and watch you disrespect your grandma like this. It was complete disrespect. Actually, he was trying to fight his grandma. That's what it was. He was cussing her out, and he was trying to push her and fight her, because he wouldn't buy her something. And that was it, bro. He wouldn't buy something from the store, so she didn't want to buy it. She was the worst thing ever. He started pushing her. He started pushing her down, trying to push on the ground out. That was it, bro. There's a little line. Everybody got a little line. He was pushing his ground. It wasn't just cussing. He was cussing out, and he started pushing his ground. Like he was pushing the ground.
That's like enough, man.
That was it, bro. And then the security came up and said, "What happened?" And the security's like, "That serves him right." And the kid got kicked off the premises.
You know, I had a customer, an Edomite little kid. He was like 16. Brought him to the cart, showed him the product. He said, "Man, I'm gonna go get my dad." He said he brought his dad over. His dad was like, "Man, these are not the shoes that we came in the mall." This is an Edomite dude. He said, "These are not the shoes that we came in the mall for." He says, "Shut up, Dad. I want it, and you're gonna buy it." And I'm like, that'll be 43, 50.
43, 54.
That'll be 43, 54. You know, whatever that was. And then, after I wrapped it up, then I say, "Man, listen, don't talk to your dad like that, man." Hey, man, I had to get that money first. Then I had to go ahead and scold him a little bit afterwards. I had to get that sale first. It was hot. The block was hot at those times, man.
Phone was hot too.
The phone was hot, bro. I couldn't. Hey, man, we had to produce at those times. You know, I just said, let me hold my tongue real quick. Wrap this bottle up. Once I wrapped it up, I say, hey, man, don't talk to your dad like that no more, man. You're going to miss him if anything ever happened to him. You know what I'm saying? You need to apologize to him. But that's after I had to get that. You know what I'm saying? I had to use some wisdom right there, man. I had to use some wisdom at that time. But if you know, you know. If you ever worked the zones, you know what I'm talking about. Listen, you will be in many of those calls when you got to make judgment calls, you know. But you still, even as an Edomite, it's still his dad, man. It's still his father. It's still wrong, you know. It's still out of order. You just shut up, dad. You just, I like it, I want it, you're gonna buy it, man. You're a little snob, man. You're a little brat, and it's probably your fault because you bought him everything the way he's talking this way, and you let him get away with it, and you paid for it. You know, any parent with some sense would have said, "Man, you ain't getting a damn thing." Matter of fact, get in the car. You know, you ain't getting. You forget them shoes. You gotta wash the shoes you got. Wear the ones you got on your feet. But you disrespect. But the Most High is waiting for people to stand up for righteousness, and He said it's a good thing to have this charge. But finish that right there.
Come. It says, but giving vent to their own disposition, which hates evil and loves God.
It says a person that can have this kind of display of zeal, that you have to have an extreme and intense love for righteousness, for the Most High, and you got to hate evil. That's the only thing that's going to motivate you to push past being neutral in the truth. If you have a real love for the Most High and for righteousness, you won't be neutral in the truth. It's hard to be neutral in the truth and just let time go by and let people get away with whatever they're going to get away with and be
A cosigner.
a cosigner to negative, or not proactive when you see something foolish or out of order. And sometimes a lot of our people, the problem is we see negative in people, but because I don't want that person to come back who sees my evil, check me in return, I'm going to stay silent because I know that they could bring out my foolishness too. So I'm not going to say nothing. But do you do them any favors?
Nope.
Do you do yourself any favors? No. Sometimes also, I'll just see negative, use it as chips to stack against somebody, just in case they point some negative at me.
Yeah.
So I can have about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chips to ready to fire off to say, well, I saw you do this, and I saw you do this, and I saw you do that. Well, if you care so much about righteousness, why don't you say something then? Because it wasn't important as long as you don't get your situation pointed out.
Yeah.
As long as you're not under the microscope, you don't care. As long as you're not, there's no heat coming your way, you don't care. So what the Most High is looking for is for people to bypass that neutrality that we live in.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered by negative. You have to be, if you love the Most High and you love righteousness and you love His commandments, and you can't let negative just walk right in front of you and just not say something, not take action. And this is what the Most High wants. A lot of people lack zeal. A lot of people don't stand in the gap. Read on.
So as to chastise the impious.
It says, so as to chastise the what?
The impious.
Go ahead.
With implacable rigor.
It says, with implacable rigor. Read on.
Looking upon themselves as everything for the time being.
He says, at this time, when Phinehas made this decision, even though he had Moses right there next to him, he said he looked at himself as what?
As everything for the time being.
Such as what?
Counselors.
He said, I am the counselor in this situation. I'm not going to wait for Cosby and Zimri to make this idolatrous practice fulfilled. I'm going to take action right now. I'm going to counsel his butt right now. What else?
And judges.
I'm going to be the judge. Even though I got Moses right here, I'm going to be the judge right here. Because this is wrong. What else?
And generals.
And I'm going to be the general. Even though I got Moses right here, I know this is wrong. So I'm going to be the general right now. Because this is wrong. What else?
And members of the people. and members of the assembly.
It says, and I'm gonna be a member of the Grand Council. I'm gonna do all these things because I know I'm gonna be all these things right now because this is wrong. Who has that ability to say, man, I'm gonna be the judge, jury, or whatever counselor it may be because I see wrong and I'm gonna point it out and I'm not afraid to speak on it. I'm not afraid to declare it and point it out and bring it out. Or I'm not gonna save it in my pocket as ammunition when somebody points out when I'm wrong. You're not doing that. Go ahead.
And accusers.
He said, I'm going to be the accuser. What else?
And witnesses.
Go ahead.
And laws. And the people.
I'm going to be the sheriff. I'm going to be the deputy. I'm going to be the accuser. I'm going to be the witness. He said, Phineas took all those assignments upon himself because he saw wickedness. Do we have the ability to see wickedness amongst our people and just let it slide as if it's not there? Then we don't really possess zeal in the purest form, which is to love the Most High and hate evil. Because if you really love the Most High and hate evil, you won't tolerate wickedness from amongst your people, your family, your husbands and wives, relatives, friends, associates, or anybody amongst your nation. When you really love the Most High in righteousness, it gives you the motivation to speak against evil. It gives you the spirit to say, hey, man, that's wrong. I don't care if you like me or not. I don't care if we're friends from this point or not. That's wrong. That's not right. The Most High is not with this. But only Phineas, out of everybody standing around, only Phineas had it in him to be this way. So let's finish. Let that go. Because I wanted to show how that's a driving force. That zeal is a driving force for righteousness. Go back to Numbers chapter 25. We're almost done.
Numbers 25.
Mm-hmm.
In verse 4 now? Or you want me to read it again?
We're Numbers 25.
You read through. You want to read it again?
Let me get we are at verse 5.
Verse 5, God. Numbers chapter 25, verse 5. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses, and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the congregation of the children, of the tabernacle of the congregation. Verse 7, and when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. And he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel.
This one man's zeal and this one man's actions and inspiration inspired him to turn the anger from the Most High that he had towards all. This one man's actions turned the whole anger of the Most High away from the children of Israel and pacified the wrath that the Most High had towards the children of Israel. Doesn't mean that a lot of people didn't die. A lot of people died because the plague had already begun. Moses and the elders were killing men that were participated in this Baal Peor worship. But also the Most High himself was plaguing and killing men also. But the thing that stopped it was that one single action of zeal. That in Titus reads that we should all be ready to do. It says that we should all be ready and zealous for good works at any moment's notice. It shouldn't just be one man in the Bible that has a notable level of zeal and courage, we should all have that notable level of zeal and courage to be active when we see negative, because we support and believe in the Most High's righteousness so much. And we just can't let sin be so comfortable dwelling amongst us. Just can't be so comfortable seeing wrong and being okay with it. You just can't be that way. And what gets us out of that is having an intense love for the Most High. Your love for the Lord will not allow you to be passive when you see negativity. Your care for righteousness won't let you stay silent. Read.
God, verse 9. And those that died in the plague were 20 and 4,000.
So, if it wasn't, for one, that's a heavy amount of people.
24,000 people?
24,000 people died.
It's like a stadium.
Yeah. Packed house, bro. That's how many men had to die that participated in this Baal Peor worship.
It's a whole concert full of people.
Yeah, that's a city. That's a town. That's a lot of people had to die. But there's only one man that turned all the Most High's wrath around. More would have died. One man's actions, who cared about righteousness, said, I'm going to stand up for righteousness, turned the Most High's wrath away. Now, many men had to die, but look at what it took this one man to possess. What was in him is the same thing that should be in all of us. Yes, sir.
So in essence, he saved many more lives, many more lost.
Yeah, exactly, because more of the children of Israel, if he didn't, think about it. We were just about to go into the land of Canaan. We're about to enter into the promised land. We were on the edge of entering into the promised land. This is right before Moses died. We would have never made it. If he didn't stop the wrath of the Most High, there wouldn't have been no children to go into the promised land. But look at what it took to let us make it over. So somebody got to stand up for righteousness. On this one point, and we out of here. Read this for me, Damiat.
You done with this?
Yeah, you can let that go. Read this for me real quick. I'm going to skip down. I'm going to skip down a little bit. Read this right here. 58.
But some men have gone to such a pitch of extravagant madness.
They said, but we read earlier that men will go out of their wits when it comes to their lust. Go ahead.
That they have left themselves no retreat or way to repentance,
Go ahead.
but hasten onwards to the slavery and service of images made by hands,
Go ahead.
confessing it in distinct characters, not written on paper.
He said, when we sell out the Most High, we go all the way to being complete sellouts. Almost to the point of no return. Read on.
As is the custom in the case of slaves.
He said, we're like slaves to sin. That's why you got to eradicate sin when you see it. You say our people become like slaves to it. Go ahead.
But branding the characters deep.
It says we get so bold as to believe in our idolatry that we'll brand it on our skin. We'll brand our idols on our bodies. Either by physical branding or by tattoos or simply just in a spiritual sense where it's branded in our minds.
Having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
Our conscience be seared with a hot iron. We're fully convinced that this is right. Go ahead.
Deep on their persons with a burning iron, in order that they may remain efficably. For these things are not dimmed or weakened by time.
He says, so that I can always be with my idolatry. Wow. He says, we'll attach ourselves to idolatry so strong as to brand it upon ourselves so that we can always be ready to observe it.
They'll seal themselves to their God.
Yes. He's talking about the intense level that we would go to violate and transgress the Most High when it comes to us doing what we want and what we feel is right. This is why you have to stand in between the people and the Most High, because our people, when we go left, we go all the way left. We don't just dabble with sin. We don't just play with sin. We completely are indulged and overwhelmed by sin. We become slaves to sin. We don't just play with sin a little bit. That's not what we do. We go all the way into it. Read this right here.
And the most sacred Moses appears to have preserved the same object and intention in all other cases whatever, being a lover and also a teacher of truth,
Go ahead.
which he desires to stamp and impress upon all his disciples.
So just like our people want to stamp sin upon themselves, somebody has to stand in opposition to them to stamp righteousness into them. So our job is to be that oppositional force that wants to stamp righteousness on our people. Because if not, our people will naturally stamp sin upon themselves. Now let's finish that Numbers chapter 25, verse 10, and we're done.
God, going back. Gotta say. Numbers chapter 25, verse 10. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, had turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them.
So do we understand the power of that zeal?
Yeah.
The title of the class is called Let Zeal Light the Way. But in order for you to have that level of zeal, what must you have in you?
And wickedness.
A love for the Most High righteousness.
You gotta have a love for righteousness,
Yeah.
and you have to have a hatred for iniquity.
Yeah.
If you don't have a hatred for iniquity, and if you don't have the love of righteousness in you, you will never have the zeal necessary to do those valiant acts that we're reading about. Yes, sir.
You can't have both.
You can't have both.
Balance or anything. You either got one or the other.
Yep.
So the more you rehearse the righteous acts, the more you get into the law, statutes, and commandments, and the more you delve into that, the more you hate wickedness.
Yes. And then the more you hate wickedness, the more you don't stand around when you see wickedness
God.
without taking action. Like Phinehas. Any questions? With that, we're going to say shalom. The water for coming out to class. We'll see you on Friday. Shout out and shalom to everybody online. Have a good night. And may the Most High bless your households and your families and your health and your well-being. With that, we're going to say shalom. Let's go ahead and set up a quick prayer. Imagine we'll put your shalom. Shalom, Israel.